The next match was the Street Profits against Seth Rollins and Murphy, Murph the Surf, our little buddy Murphy. And it's almost like Seth is surrounded. He is a nice red rose surrounded by weeds to where that he's starting to wilt himself. I thought in this match, it was just, he was kind of one of the guys. It's a scripted promo routine by the Street Profits in the ring by themselves, and then they allegedly are going to have a match, but as soon as they go into a 100-mile-an-hour jump start and do a big dive, they go to the break. So once again, they've minimized the matches so much to that's where you could actually get programming that people will pay attention to for 5 or 7 or 8 or 10 minutes of a segment instead of people droning on talking, saying canned fucking scripted bullshit endlessly. But the match, every time a match breaks out, they go to commercial. And they come back on the other side in a stationary chin lock. I wrote, why do I care when they go to break as soon as the match starts and come back to boring? And then, immediately, Dawkins, is that his name? Dawkins? Yes. I can't read my own writing.
Yes.
He immediately beats up both heels on the floor. And I've watched this. He somehow or another, he did the dive out on the floor. He knocked him down on the floor, whatever. He crawls into an empty ring. He's crawling across about halfway across the ring. Do you remember this part? There's no heel. They're both on the floor outside. There's nobody in the ring. He gets up and dives and makes the alleged hot tag.
That's right. Yeah.
No human could have. There was nobody around. It was, and everybody could see there was no way he could be stopped. And then so Ford gets the hot tag and he does another dive out there and splatters everybody and he beats up both heels. And Montez Ford's shit is great. It's athletic as hell. And he does very precise, great precision. Looks like he's doing it safe. But these matches they're either all in break or they don't make any sense. They did a bunch of double teams and false finishes back and forth. And then Ford rolled out of their double team. They were going to do the deal where Rollins gives him the buckle bomb and Murphy runs up and enziguris him in the back of the head, right? Ford rolls out of it and propels Seth into the corner and Murphy kicks Seth. That would be a great finish for them to fuck themselves and the baby faces win, right? But here is just another fucking spot. And then Ford foils the heels, but Seth threw him off the top rope to the floor, which once again, it was another, chance at a hospitalization angle. He just flung him off the top rope down to the floor, and the AOP come down specifically to get kicked out so they can distract the referee. So Kevin Owens runs in and stunners Rollins, and then everybody runs after him or out away from him, and Ford hits a splash on Seth off the top that was beautiful. 1, 2, 3. My summation of this, whatever the fuck this was, to quote the incredible character actor of the 60s and 70s, Billy DeWolf, busy, busy, busy. People just running it back and forth and doing shit. There was no story to this. No, we missed the first 3 minutes of it. What we did see was just back and forth gaga, a couple of different things that could have been the finish, and a guy runs in because something he did last week. Nobody got over. If they're going to put the belts on these guys, just put the belts on them. My God. The finish could have been when the fucking heels did their spot in the corner where they foiled themselves and the babyface would have got a huge pop without all this busyness. That was it meant to protect people or continue Kevin Owens' thing with Seth? So it's more important in that instance to continue Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins' heat than to get the new babyface tag team champions over. I don't know what the fuck they were doing. It's a little pitchy for me, dog.
I wasn't as negative on their promo before the match as you, because I thought there were so many other really awful scripted promos throughout this show and in the last several weeks. I thought at least they seemed like they had some emotion to them and the fans were into them. I think Ford is pretty spectacular. I mean, the height he gets on like that frog splash is incredible.
He's like their version of Mark Quinn.
I think he's more impressive than Mark Quinn from what I've seen so far.
He's more polished because he's had better training in the basics. He's more precise. He's safer looking. Quinn may have him beat on some fucking athletic shit, but Quinn's smaller also. But anyway, yes.
You know, and I guess we'll talk about this here. I have a lot of friends who have worked in radio, including very, very high executive positions. And
well, their drug habits are none of your business, and those things have been cleared up long ago. Very high friends.
Mel Karmazin made a lot of money for the companies he worked for by throwing as many commercials as possible into the radio stations that were under his control. And what it also did was turn people away from listening to radio. And I'm using that as a comparison to this because I said the show goes on forever, and it does. But whenever there's a chance of getting into something, they go to a commercial break, and then they come back from the commercial break and they go to the picture-in-picture. It's nonstop. You can't get into anything. It's not conducive to making someone sit there and watch the show and get into a match. You can't get into any matches. It's like segments of matches thrown together.